Oh.
Hello, sports fans. This is Kaelen Jones, and I'm here with Kevin Avery. And today, you're on listening to the Jones and Avery Show. Kevin, we've got a scandal going on in the MLB. Alex Rodriguez and 12 other players were suspended today for being involved in the Biogenesis scandal. Rodriguez took the worst bit of it, being suspended for 211 games. Kevin, how do you describe what's happened, or what's your take on what's going on in the MLB with Alex Rodriguez and the Biogenesis?
It's a sad chapter in the MLB. At the same time, I think it's the beginning of a new story. So I believe this Biogenesis scandal is the first chapter to cracking down on PEDs. I've said it before, PEDs will never be away from the game of baseball. They'll never be away from sports in general. From the Olympics, the football, basketball, baseball. You'll never be away. But with this huge crackdown on all these 13 players, I believe it was, especially with Alex Rodriguez going out for 211 games, that's $100 million getting taken out of his contract. So they're going to be more wary of what they're going to do before they take PEDs. Now, it's not going to entirely stop them, because you're going to have those knuckleheads out there who think they won't get caught by the system, which they will. But this is the beginning of a new chapter. But sadly, this is not over. Alex Rodriguez is going to drag this out as long as he can to the end of the season and appeal it. And I believe he's allowed to probably going to be able to play throughout the end of the season. That's what I've heard. I'm not sure if that's correct or not.
Most likely you will.
Yep. Well, I just see this as a blessing in disguise for the MLB. That's what I like to say.
Well, Kevin, I agree with you 100% in the fact that it can possibly be a blessing in disguise, especially since the fact that if players see the fact that their careers can take such a vital hit. I mean, 211 games is pretty much a death sentence for Alex Rodriguez's career, considering he's already 38 years old. I mean, his career's definitely been on a downfall since 2006, I want to say. And I mean, it's such an unprecedented. It's like it's never been done before. 211 games. That's the greatest suspension since Pete Rose being kicked out of the game. I mean, when you really think about it, the other 12 players that were involved, they're all in the prime of their careers. Like, you look at Everett Cabrera, you look at Bastardo, you look at Cervelli, you look at even Nelson Cruz and Jesus Montero. These are guys who can bounce back and go and finish out their careers making the money that they missed out on. If Rodriguez gets suspended and if he has, to miss out on any time at all, he's not going to be able to get that money back. He's missing out $60 million.
I've got a problem. I do not believe that anyone will bounce back after using PEDs. You can't come back after being off juice. There's plenty of proof of that. Larry Bonds never came back the same. Roger Clemens never the same.
See, both those guys were in the same. Back in
Sean
the career.
Merriman from the NFL, who looked like the next Junior Seau, not the same. I believe Nelson Cruz, Ryan Braun, all these guys are going to take a magnificent downfall in their stats, and they're just going to become journeymen of the league here in a couple of years. That's what I believe.
I agree with you on that. I don't think they'll be at the same level that they were before. But I like what ESPN's Coach Schilling had to say when he said PEDs make bad players good players great, and great players Hall of Famers. I believe in that. And I think that Ryan Braun and Alex Rodriguez, all these guys were at least good enough to get into MLB even without steroids. I just don't think they would be playing at elite levels to the point where, Braun and Rodriguez are getting expensive contracts like $100 million. I don't think they'd be playing at that type of level without PEDs. I mean, even when you look at Rodriguez, he's been using PEDs on the downfall of his career.
Well, if you noticed, so when he signed with the Yankees, his home runs went down. His numbers all went down. 2 years, when he supposedly went back on the PEDs, skyrocketed back up to, I believe it was I think it was almost 50 home runs for him with the Yankees in one season, and that's what started the huge stir. And Ryan Braun had used PEDs to barely beat out my boy. Ladies and gentlemen, we're new to this show. You gotta know about this on my team. Matt Kemp is my boy, and he is the true NL MVP, and he was natural. He is natural, 100%. And Ryan Braun barely beat him out on glass with PEDs. So that's my biggest problem with this whole thing. Now, Jones, we are new to the show. This is our first podcast. We need to get the audience to get to know us. Where do you stand with PEDs? There's some people out there who say, hey, let the players use them, make it a level playing field.
Okay.
Where do you stand
My stand,
on the players using PEDs?
I'm more of a moral guy. I'll always be a moral guy. I believe in morality, and if you can be true to something and have virtue, then you should do it. But the fact that I'm not going to lie, I've been a casual fan. This is probably the first year that I've really paid attention deeply into baseball. So I can say from a casual fan's perspective that PEDs make the game more interesting. I mean, you talk about the 1990s with Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, the home run record, even Barry Bonds.
True.
From that standpoint,
the problem I have with PEDs is, you said earlier, a quote from ESPN that, who was it that said it? A-Rod?
Kurt Schilling. Kurt Schilling.
Kurt Schilling, true. Okay. The problem with that is, there's not a steroid player in the Hall of Fame. Okay? Once you take steroids, you're in this tarnished forever. And Barry Bonds, he was a great player before steroids. His problem was, he was self-conscious with his image. You saw Mark McGwire, Sandy Sosa getting all the attention on the home run chase. That was the center of America. 4th of July comes out on barbecue. That's what you're talking about. Mark McGwire, Sandy Sosa racing for the home run title.
Yep.
And Barry Bonds wanted to get into jump, so he decided to take steroids. So, what I have a problem with is that great players are still using it. Not players that are struggling in the minors and are trying to get to the majors.
Oh, yeah. You never hear about cruddy players using steroids. You always hear about at least decent to good players using steroids. It's never cruddy players.
Schumacher, the Dodgers, was quoted saying, I've done 100% natural to get where I am. I have to fight every single day to stay in the majors. And it's not fair that these guys get to use PEDs and go through that sprees. I, of course, shortened that down, but it's true. You got these guys who put in blood, sweat, and tears, who played 5, 6 years in the minors and finally can call up to the majors. And then you've got these other guys who are just fine, natural, using PEDs and kicking all these other minor guys out of the picture, you know? That's the problem I have, and I believe that Bud Selig needs to do a better job at cracking down. This A-Rod case has been dragging on way too long.
Well, even that...
suspension should have been announced a week ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree 100% with that. They should have had all of their information before this, but personally, I don't think steroids will always be a part of the game. I don't think there's any way around that, because even in high school, I mean, kids are getting yoked up on steroids from the time they're, in 8th grade or freshman year, they're using them. I mean, I've been first-hand witness. I mean, we've been first-hand witnesses of that. I just don't see it being something that the game will ever be able to avoid, especially since the fact that, I mean, guys like Ryan Braun can get a fine, be penalized just for 50 games and still have $100 million remaining on a contract. I mean, in that case, it's worth it. Not from a moral standpoint, but if you're for $100 million, you're just going to miss 50 games?
Yeah.
It's insane.
The thing I look at it as, when everyone says these guys are number one, these guys are stupid for taking them, I agree they are. But at the same time, look at it their standpoint. Okay, like I said before, these great players are taking PEDs to become fake Hall of Fame players, right?
Yep.
But think about this. You stay natural, you be a pretty good player, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you make about $10 million a year.
Yep.
Okay? 10 million, no, let's go down to 7 million. Okay? Or
that's when you're good.
You take steroids, Jones.
Mm-hmm.
You take steroids, your numbers skyrocket.
Oh yeah.
And that money skyrockets.
Oh yeah, that's the problem.
That money is the deciding factor. You go from $7 million to a $15 million a year player. You go from being Matt Kemp contract to going to a $10 million, $210 million, or 10-year, $210 million contract like A-Rod. That's the problem. Money also as well.
Oh, yeah.
These teams are buying in to the PEDs as well. They're not testing before they sign players, and that's the problem I have. You're telling me the Yankees had no idea that A-Rod was using steroids?
Well, you never know technology. I don't know if that's viable. But of course, these guys were testing. These guys are smart now. These guys, I think they have scientists. I think scientists are figuring out how to hide it, how to somehow have the steroids in your system without it being detected. I mean, who knows? It's craziness.
Beers and hot dogs. How those great papers did it. You know, stock up on beers and hot dogs, and you will be great. All right, moving on, because this Biogenesis is making me self-conscious of my muscles. I mean, I am pretty loaded over here.
Oh my God.
Brag.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on to Johnny Football.
Johnny Football.
Never disappointing with the drama source this offseason. Recently being investigated over autographs. Now, I don't have the entire story, Jones, so why don't you fill us in on that?
Well, Johnny Football is being suspended for allegedly signing over 200 autographs while he was at the national championship game. And what had happened was before he signed those, he had been signing autographs for an affiliate. But his associate decided to say, if you want us to continue to sign, or want Johnny to continue signing autographs, then you're going to have to pay him. The NCAA, so far, at this point, doesn't have any proof, or doesn't have any trace of where the money is at, or if Johnny even made the transaction. But the NCAA, again, which is a dumb rule to me, makes it illegal for college football athletes or college athletes anywhere to profit off of their hard work on the court and on the field. So it's illegal, and they get suspended, or they get fined, or they get kicked out of games for profiting off of what they've done, their hard work. And I find that wrong. I mean, Giants football's done a lot this offseason, don't get me wrong. But personally, I'm a kid. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to be biased to agreeing with him and not saying what he's done is wrong. I don't feel that tweeting or going to basketball games or just hanging out with celebrities is wrong. The only wrong things I've seen Johnny Football do this offseason was the Manning camp where he got kicked out, where he allegedly pushed his coach, and the misdemeanor which he fessed up to. And all the pressure that circulates around that, in my opinion, has me nervous as a fan for his sanity. I mean, his father even came on and had an interview explaining how he feared that somebody eventually break down. And I don't think that's fair that we keep pressuring this kid, who's only, again, 20 years old. He's only, 3 years older than you and me. Can you imagine being on a national spotlight and being...
The problem I have is that he's treating it like it's nothing, though. Okay? I understand. We're kids. You want to party. You're in college.
Right.
You got all this fame. You got all the women that want to get with you. You got all these parties to go to, celebrities, like you said. At the same time, being a great player comes with responsibility. Okay?
Sure.
Once you take on the leader of the team, you become a role model. You become an example.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All these... And another problem I have is with the media, okay?
Yep, that's the issue.
Blowing it out of proportion.
That's the issue.
You're telling me I've never seen us follow a college player like this who hasn't been investigated for scandal like Reggie Bush or right now Oregon. I've never seen it. Okay, you're telling me that no other college kids are out there partying right now?
Thank you.
With people, the media needs to stop it, first of all. And Johnny Manziel needs to sit down, have a serious thought, and say, look, I could be the #1 pick here in 3 years, 2 years.
That's
okay? He needs to work on his character. He needs to show that he's responsible and that he can lead a team. Because right now, what the person I'm getting off of him, the vibe I'm getting, is that he doesn't care. Put the cameras on me. I'm going to do what I want, when I want, how I feel.
Well, I don't think that he wants the cameras on him. I don't think that he wants cameras on him off the field.
He doesn't care whether they're on him or not. He's just got to keep living his life. The problem is, this is a new life that you're taking on here. You're not in high school anymore.
Right, you're the Heisman Trophy winner.
You're the freshman football Heisman player. You need to take on a new look on life. You need to take responsibility.
Right.
My problem is that he's blowing it off. Like, it's not smart. He hasn't done anything wrong. Now, I don't believe he's done anything wrong as, like, with the partying and all that, but as far as you need to tone it down a level, okay?
Right, I agree with that. But at the same time, I do feel like our generation is changing society a little bit. I mean, there's not the same mantra that you get out of a leadership position like a quarterback anymore. I mean, we see guys. I mean, recently we just saw guys like RG3 and Andrew Luck and Ryan Tannehill, and Russell Wilson. That whole draft class. Of course, you don't see guys going nuts like this. But we just saw Colin Kaepernick, who's a different guy, a different type of quarterback from what we usually see. He's not. I wouldn't necessarily describe him as being the typical quarterback. That typical. I'm the leader, or he is a leader, but he's a leader in a different way. I feel that Johnny Manziel, if he can go out and perform on the field, I think that's the biggest thing. I think we have to wait until he performs on the field to determine whether all this nonsense or offseason really matters or not. But if he can go out there and prove that he can be a leader on the field and play well, then I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, well, I feel like we're getting a little bit off topic here. The main topic right now is the scandal that's going on with the autographs.
Right.
So
I think the question really with that is whether or not the NCAA can continue to prohibit kids from profiting off of, and literally exploiting their kids for what they're doing on the field. I mean, literally, there's a report just a week ago that Johnny Manziel was at an auction for Texas A&M, and they auctioned off a table for $20,000. And it's ridiculous to me that he can't see a dollar of that, or he can't see a dime of that. And don't get me wrong, he should know the rules. It's irresponsible that he would go out and sign autographs and try to profit off of it, knowing that he is the central focal point of his team, and he's supposed to be the leader. That's where he falls out being a leader.
Right.
That's definitely the red flag. That's cause for concern. But on a bigger issue, I think that the NCAA can't continue to keep kids from being able to profit off of what they're doing on the field. Because I mean, there's no guarantee that they go into the pros, that they make the type of money that they can make while they're a national icon in college. There's no guarantee that Johnny Manziel is a first-round pick and they make $14 million off the bat. That's a long shot, honestly, right now. I mean, personally, if you have the opportunity to market yourself and your marketability is at its highest, which is right now for Johnny Manziel, where he's on a national level, where he's on ESPN and SportsCenter every day, I think that he should be allowed to go out and make money. He should be able to cash in. I know people are saying that he comes from a wealthy family and he shouldn't be doing that. Well, from a Marcel, yeah, he shouldn't be doing that for his team. But if this was any other player and they didn't have the money, I don't see a problem with kids. I mean, we're even seeing with the video games. That was another thing that I brought up in my blog the other day, that kids get exploited so much playing college football and college sports that it's ridiculous to me. It's a multi-million-dollar business, and instead the schools are blowing it on facilities and administration and whatnot. But to me, it's just not fair for the players. It's not fair for the student athlete. They're not protected at all.
No, definitely, I hear you. And come on, you're in a hotel room. There's two guys. No, there's like multiple witnesses.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying, get out of my room while I'm trying to make some money.
Thank you. I don't get how the guy took a picture of him. I saw the picture of him earlier. I was like, how in the heck are you going to laugh while he's taking a picture of you? That's evidence.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just, I'm done. I'm so done with this whole Johnny football thing. I just want football season to come. I'll talk about him again once the football season starts and then him scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what I think it's going to come down to, whether or not he performs on the field. But hopefully he's not suspended for the first 4 games, because week 3 they got to go play Alabama again.
That'll definitely be a huge loss. Alright, so this is the Jones Avery Show, first podcast ever. We're going to take a quick break. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking about the upcoming 2013 NFL season, expectations, playoff predictions, significant injuries, along with the 2013-2014 NBA season. Same topic as the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Jones and Avery Show. Yeah, I'm about ready. Alright, so...
Hello and welcome back to the Jones and Avery Show. This is Kaelen Jones. I'm here with Kevin Avery. And Kevin, let's take a look at the NFL heading into the 2013 season. We just had the Hall of Fame game, happened just a few days ago, with the Cowboys defeating the Dolphins 24-20. And speaking of the Cowboys, Kevin, they just re-signed Tony Romo to a expensive deal, while their head coach Jason Garrett is on the hot seat. But is it comparable to Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez? I mean,
oh, definitely, I believe so. I think they're both in the same situation right now. The question I have is whose job is more on the line, the coach or the quarterback? Because both teams' quarterbacks have underperformed. The Jets, fumble. There we go, that's all I have to say. And Tony Romo, magnificent throughout the whole season, and when they need him most, he just crumbles under the pressure. So, in the Jets case, who's more on the hot seat, Mark Sanchez or Rex Ryan? I think both. I think they're both equal. Actually, I'd say Rex Ryan more, because I think Mark Sanchez is done. This is his last season as a Jet. I believe if he does win his starting job, it'll be for I say till week 5, when they start off 1-4. Okay? And yeah, you know what, we're recording this, ladies and gentlemen, you can look back on this. I'm calling it right now. 1-4, Mark Sanchez will be benched for the rest of the season. Jets career over. Geno Smith steps in. They finish off the year with about 5 wins, 6 wins, and Rex Ryan will be fired. So that's just a horrible situation that they got down there in New York, which I believe, I don't think they should let go of Mark Sanchez. You know what's going to happen? I don't think they should. I think he needs to be in the right system, because the first two seasons, AFC Championship, okay? Not any quarterback can do that.
no, but, all right, go ahead, keep going.
Now, he had success in USC, came into the league with Rex Ryan, had success right away, 2 AFC Championship games, okay? But what happens once they lost some vital points to that O-line? And now the O-line is horrible, defense is horrible, he has no wide receivers, okay? He doesn't have Antonio Holmes. Brandon Edwards is gone. He's going to have Plaxico Burress. The tight end is now with the Dolphins. Okay? So he has absolutely no weapons. Sean Green, gone. Okay? No weapons whatsoever. So that's why I say he's going to be gone. Okay? Especially with that New York Jets fan base. As soon as he throws that first incomplete pass, they're going to be cheering for Geno Smith.
Oh, yeah.
But, Rex Ryan, I think his coaching career as a head coach is done. I don't think he's any better than a defensive coordinator. And, this season, sadly for Jets fans, we're going to have to watch with one eye open because it's going to be a long, ugly season.
Oh, yeah. But, see, my thing with Mark Sanchez and this whole situation is that Rex Ryan loves him. Rex Ryan has always loved him, and he even wrote about it in his book. I think it's called Play Like You Mean It, which I read. It's called Play Like You Mean It. But Rex Ryan explained how much he loved this kid out of SC and how he felt he was going to be the franchise quarterback and lead him to the Super Bowl, but it just hasn't happened.
So, he's not told the fans to lay off of Mark Sanchez at the training camp after they were booing him.
Oh, yeah, because Geno hasn't thrown an interception yet. And Mark Sanchez is turnover prone. And we all, I think the butt fumble, that's the definition of that. But along with that, I don't think this is going to be Rex last year. I just think it hurts him because he's the one that drafted Mark Sanchez. He's the one that quarterbacked the team that got the 2 championships, the one that gave Rex the great confidence that he displayed for us on a national level. But in my opinion, I've never seen Mark Sanchez typically as a good quarterback. I've never really considered him to be a good quarterback or even a decent one at that.
I don't see him as a starting quarterback.
It's because, you know why? Because even when they went to the AFC Championship game back-to-back years, you look at his statistics, he was a game manager. And even with those statistics, he wasn't throwing over 20 touchdowns. He was throwing about the same amount of interceptions. That his completion percentage was in the 60s, but it wasn't high. It's not. He is a game manager. I think his potential is a Matt Schaub. His lowest though is what we saw last year. And of course, I agree 100%. He's never had weapons. Santonio Holmes has always been hurt. Dustin Kelly hurt. Now both of them are gone. Santonio Holmes is still there, but Dustin Kelly's gone. Braylon Edwards was there his first year, but he's a vertical threat. Mark Sanchez, quite frankly, doesn't have a big arm. And even with Stephen Hill, who's a deep threat, I don't think that they've built around Mark Sanchez. They never really have. When they had a running game with Sean Green, LaDainian Tomlinson, that was a different story. They were pounding the ball. That's how we got to the AFC Championship game back-to-back years. They were able to pound the rock. And with the great defense that, complements their game managing style in offense, Mark Sanchez, in my opinion, of course he's going to shine. The time that he is going to drop back, he's going to find those little holes and find his receivers because they don't throw the ball that much. I've never really seen he's not a guy that can drop back and throw 25 to 30 times a game. That's just in my opinion. But
okay, you say that because he's never been in a situation to do that. I believe you put him in the right situation with a quarterback-minded coach, someone like a Jim Harbaugh. He can do pretty good for your team.
Oh yeah, even if he was on, if he had been on the
you don't have an 11-5 team with a mediocre quarterback. Okay, you gotta admit there are some nice flashes of Mark Sanchez. At the same time, Rex Ryan is not the right coach. He's not. You need an offensive-minded coach to work with this kid and to get him to what you said, a Matt Schwab. And that's where I could see him going. I could see him being a Matt Schwab for the league. And that's why I think he needs to go to a better coach and a better system.
And even at that point, though, they brought in Marty Morningwig, which he's supposedly going to fix their offense so it complements them more in the passing game. But even with that, I don't think their running game is going to be that good. Sean Green's gone. I like Chris Ivory, but their offensive line, even during the AFC Championship run, It was all right. It wasn't great. I wouldn't consider it great. And even now, with the way that Geno Smith has been performing during training camp, I don't think Rex Ryan has a choice. I don't see Mark Sanchez starting one game for the New York Jets this year.
Okay, shots fired, ladies and gentlemen. I thought week 5 he's benched Jones Avery. Week 0.
I don't see him starting one game.
We will get back. We will get back to that. Enough with the fumble, the New York fumbles. Let's head over to Dallas, where there's actually some potential and something we'll be talking about.
Oh, tons of potential.
Who has more to prove this season, Jason Garrett or Tony Romo?
Well, see, in my opinion, I'd want to say both, just because personally I'm not a Tony Romo fan. I don't like it, but I tend to find people either underrate him or overrate him. I love his story, the fact that he came from a Division II school, and for him to be even considered in the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, that's saying something. But even with that, he'd start games so slow. He'd start them so inconsistent. Too many turnovers. You'd see him. Even in the big moments, he just falters. It's there. You can see it. I can see it. I can see that's there. But it just hasn't come out when it's needed to come out. I think that Tony Romo can definitely be a top 10 quarterback and be a consistent one. Heck, he can be considered elite in my opinion. And this year's going to be the year that he proves it. Now, the biggest thing in my opinion, and it's the smartest thing, is that Jason Garrett, number 1, let go of the reins of the offense. Number 2, put it in the hands of Bill Callahan as much as I despise him. Number 3, their defense is improved. And I know it's just a preseason game. I know I'm not supposed to get hyped off of just a one preseason showing and off of what you read in reports, but the fact that they switched to a Tampa 2 defense and the fact that they looked the way that they did against Miami Dolphins, albeit against the backups primarily, I think that the Cowboys are going to have a better defense. And again, if DeMarco Murray can stay healthy, Tony Romo is going to be elite. He's not going to have the ball in his hands when he doesn't have to. I think Tony Romo is being asked to do a lot last year. And again, even with the receiving core, they have a heck of a receiving core with Jason Witten, Dez Bryant, and Miles Austin. If Dez Bryant can repeat what he did last year, the second half of last year, if we even see glimpses of that, I think Tony Romo's going to have a heck of a year. I think the Cowboys can make the playoffs.
Yeah, okay. Tony Romo, 3rd week injured. I'm calling it right now. Okay? Problem with me with Tony Romo is I don't see the drive. Okay, look at him in training camp. He looks husky to me. Okay, yeah, he came off a back surgery, but you know what? You need to be doing everything you can to be getting weight back down. Okay? What I want to see is the Tony Romo back in 07, who took if I'm not mistaken, 09, who took the 11-5 Cowboys, led them with 26 touchdowns, no 9 interceptions. And, on top of that, completed over 63% of his passes. That's the one I want to see. Not the 19 interception Tony Romo.
Oh, yeah. No, they don't even sniff the playoffs if that happens.
And I want him to do good. I want Romo to succeed. I want him to live up to the contract.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he came at a horrible point. He's coming off of back surgery. This whole offseason, he hasn't really been able to work out because, he's been resting on his back. And I just don't see it turning out that great for the Cowboys this year.
I think if Dez Bryant, if you get Dez Bryant to step up though, the way that they've been saying he's stepping up in training camp, and the fact that his mind is right this year, I think there's a totally different mindset. We saw what Dez Bryant, we saw what the Cowboys look like when Dez Bryant got a straight mind.
Yeah, he kicked me out of the fantasy football Super Bowl. That's what he did to me. Okay, don't tell me. I know very well what Dez Bryant can do. Cost me $100 extra. But
what if he does that during the first 6 weeks of the year?
It's controlling the ball, though. Tony Romo has to get him the ball. And that's where I say Tony Romo is going to... I'm calling it. He's got humble under pressure.
I guarantee that the game is improved.
Multiple situations, I think this weight that he's gained on is not going to help him at all. And I see them as being 8-18 again.
I got them going.
The only way that they get saved this year is through their defense.
And that's what I'm saying. Their defense and their running game is going to be improved. It really is. I think if DeMarco Murray can stay healthy, DeMarco Murray is like Steven Jackson 2.0 in my opinion. He can catch out the backfield and he can run the ball when he's called on. The only problem is that he can't stay healthy. If DeMarco Murray can stay healthy,
another run DMC to me. Okay, you could talk all this hype on him. Yes, he's a great running back, but come to me when he's played more than 12 games this season. Okay? Yeah, I'm excited. Great running back. I wish him all the best. No, I don't. Broncos fan. But I wish that he could play more. But, come on. Recent track records show these guys do not stay healthy.
Even with DeMarco Murray, even if he gets hurt, I'm telling you, this is one of the best running back draft classes I've ever seen. And it's sad that the running back position isn't what it used to be, because this was a heck of a draft class. I mean, you look at this, they had Jonathan Franklin, Eddie Lacy, Giovanni Bernard, Jim Leslie, John Randall, who went to the Cowboys, Rex Burkhead. All these guys in my opinion would be first and second and third round picks in any other draft class. About 5 years ago, they'd all gotten the first 5 rounds. John Randall is a good backup. And did you not see Dunbar? Did you not see Dunbar during the Hall of Fame game too?
No, I hear what you're saying, but
game.
Hold on. You took a dagger and thrusted it right into Bronco Nation.
Oh, Monty Ball too. I'm sorry.
Ball.
That's the dude. He's going to have a good year.
Ball.
He's very underrated. I agree.
After those concussions, everyone forgot about him. But he's coming back, brother. And he's coming back strong. Alright, back to the Cowboy situation. Yeah, they're running game, but we're not talking about, okay, we're getting off topic again here. Tony Romo or Jason Garrett? I didn't answer the question yet. Who has more to prove? Tony Romo, in my case. Because Jason Garrett proved to be a pretty good coach. Thrown in there when Wade Phillips got fired. He had a pretty good record. That's what kept him there. And ever since then, Tony Romo got off to a hot start at the beginning of the season with an injured Jason Witten. Des Bryant wasn't really there. And it's sad that he showed up in the second half of the season when Tony Romo crumbled. See, and that's where I would agree with you, but my problem is Des Bryant is not going to be able to perform with a fat Tony Romo, who seems to be not wanting to live. What I'm getting right now from him, he signed the big money, he got it.
That's why I'm saying he proved himself, though, because even Jason Garrett's on the hot seat. Tony Romo just signed a paycheck to sign his pretty much for the rest of his career.
I don't think he's going to get fired after the season, though. I think that staff is there to stay for at least one more season.
Oh, yeah. He did a good job during the offseason getting Callahan and, I forgot the other guy's name, but the fact that they're running Tampa 2 and the fact that they have a more efficient offense, that's fantastic. And I hate the Cowboys, honestly.
Where did Monty Kiffin go?
Yep, that's who it is, Monty Kiffin.
I thought so. Okay. Alright, so, left with the hot seat. Let's go to the injury-riddled training camp season. You've got Michael Crabtree kicking it off, and you got Percy Harvin, and you got Chris Copeland, the Broncos center. Packers lineman, help me out, Jones, he just got injured.
Ryan Clady? No.
Ryan Clady just got hurt.
Orlando Franklin.
This is horrible.
Chris Oliver.
My question to you is, who's the most significant injury?
Well, mine's got to be the one that just happened today. It's got to be Ryan Beluga for the Green Bay Packers. And the problem is, Green Bay already has a suspect offensive line. They gave up 51 sacks last year. And they have guys that, in my opinion, are unproven. Guys that, in my opinion, shouldn't be the offensive line for a guy like Aaron Rodgers. He shouldn't be getting sacked 51 times a season if you expect him to be your franchise quarterback to stay healthy and lead your franchise team to the Super Bowl. That's not going to happen if he can't stay up. And he's already a good enough running quarterback. He can't be taking those extra hits, in my opinion, first of all. But secondly, the question that presents itself after this injury is what are they going to do to replace Beluga, because he had already made the transition from right tackle to left tackle. Now you have to figure out how you can get your quarterback's blind side protected. So the question becomes, do they go to the fourth round pick that they had, Bakhtiari, or do they transition their new right tackle, Marshall Newhouse, back to left tackle?
No, yeah, I definitely think Newhouse will go back there. I think, honestly, the Packers are fine. Yeah, it would be huge loss.
Especially considering the running game, too.
Defender. You're guaranteed playoff team. Okay? And they still got Pro Bowl, Josh Sitton, sitting there, I think it's a huge loss. But Michael Crabtree, I don't know how long he's going to be out for. I don't know how he's going to be when he comes back. But he was the number one target for Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
Okay, he can get the field. He was a great route runner. Okay. On top of him, Mario Manningham is hurt. Okay, they're running out of options here for Kaepernick. Anquan Boldin, yes, he was a great receiver last year. He showed some flashes in the playoffs. But he's more of a red zone.
Oh no, he's a safety blanket. He's the reason why Joe Flacco won that MVP award, but that's a debate for another day. But
okay.
Go on.
But I don't think Anquan Boldin is going to be enough for Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick wants to get a field. He wants to. Crabtree was perfect for him. Anquan Boldin, yes, I think he'll be great. But the reason we brought Boldin in was to take pressure off of Crabtree. Okay. Now, Anquan Boldin's the number one target. Going to be going after him. So, I think Crabtree's the most significant injury, and right behind him is Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin, I was so excited for the Seahawks when he came. I was calling them. Honestly, I had them on that grade 49ers. With Percy Harvin. He was the deep accuracy like no other. Okay. And with Percy Harvin and Cindy Rice, you saw what they did with their 40-year-old Brett Favre.
Sure.
Imagine what they could do with Russell Wilson.
Oh yeah, that would be a heck of. I was looking forward to it too. But at the same time,
the defensive loaded. They got Chris Apple. They just signed him. Okay, and that was the most complete team. They got Mr. Steele in the backfield, But now with loss of Percy Harvin, Cindy Rice might get hurt again, and I think they're just right back at the same situation as they were last year. But at the end of it, Michael Crabtree, I believe, is the most significant injury.
But see, I would agree with you with the Percy Harvin being the second biggest injury, but the fact that he hasn't played it down yet with the Seahawks, that's the only problem that I have with that. All right, Kevin. Let's move on. Look, speaking of Russell Wilson, the 2012 quarterback draft class was ridiculous. You got Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, and Ryan Tannehill, all making big strides last season. So, after seeing all of them perform so well last season, who do you think is going to have the sophomore slump?
Oh boy, you see, this is where I'm in the pickle. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I still use the term in the pickle. Okay? And I have to say, only because of the situation he's in RG3, due to his injury, I
have some faith.
My brain is saying RG3 because of that knee. Okay? So my heart is saying, if RG3 says like he's been saying that he's going to start sliding more, he's going to wear that knee brace all year, then he's fine.
Big ass.
Okay. The person I see having a slump, and okay, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, because I'm going to get a huge backfire. Ariana, you're going to hate me for this. Colin Kaepernick.
What?
I think we all jumped on the bandwagon.
What?
And I don't know. No, listen to me. Let me justify this. Slump as in what we're thinking. Okay. all the 49er fans, hold on, Joe. We're all thinking, okay, yeah, Kaepernick, Super Bowl quarterback, gonna put up 3,800 yards, he's gonna have 500 rushing yards, 600, he's gonna have 10 rushing touchdowns, he's gonna have almost 30 passing touchdowns. No, it's not gonna happen this year.
Oh, man.
And after only 10 games in the league, I'm sorry, no. No. Is he gonna have a bad year? No, he's gonna have a very good year. But for the expectations that we have with him, I don't see him living up to that. I'm sorry, and I'll go back to that. It's not for the Crabtree being injured. You know, it's going to have a huge major factor. And now teams have an entire offseason to prepare for him. Colin Kaepernick came into the league, and no one knew how to stop him. No one knew. But now we have a whole offseason to study him. You know, the option is becoming the main objective formation, and teams are learning how to stop it. Okay? They're making the defense, they're building the defense around stopping the option, and I don't think the sophomore slump in terms of Colin Kaepernick is going to be him, only because we have high expectations of him.
Yeah, see, okay.
Too high of expectations.
I can see where you're coming from. But first of all, he ain't even part of the last year's draft class, so it can't be a sophomore slump.
I know
what you mean by starting.
He's a sophomore. Okay, the guy started 10 games, alright? Right. I'm consistent.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, Blake Griffin played in a couple preseason games and busted up his feet.
Yeah, two different things.
Next year.
Two different things. Anyways, but to answer this question, I would say Russell Wilson. Now, I know you're thinking. You're thinking that he has a running game. The defense has been improved. Hold on, excuse me.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson is not going to have a good year. First of all, because the division's stronger. I don't know if you've been paying attention to Arizona Cardinals, but their team has improved. So St. Louis Rams beat the San Francisco 49ers. They beat the Seahawks last year are improved. And thirdly, Kevin, Russell Wilson started off the year cold. If you don't remember, that team started off 4-4. He was throwing 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That wasn't good. He wasn't that good of a quarterback until, again, the Hail Mary. That's when it all took off. But it took him a while to figure out that offense, figure out that scheme. And when you look at their schedule last year, it wasn't necessarily hard. I mean, you give them good playoff wins. Of course, going to Washington, that was a great win. RG Drew was injured, but it's still a great win. But I just don't see, I just do not see him having enough weapons, number one. And secondly, if defenses figure out the zone read game like we're believing they are, I personally don't. But if they do, I don't think Russell Wilson's going to have as much success. Even if they don't, he's going to have the weapons. Doug Baldwin and Sidney Rice they're good receivers, but they're not great.
Okay. Sidney Rice was out most of the season last year.
Right.
He had.
Right.
Look at what he did without Sidney Rice.
Right. But it took him a while. It took him a few weeks. I'm not going to say a long time, but it took him a few weeks. The fact that he wasn't, out of all those quarterbacks, I mean, you look at Wilson, you compare Wilson to Luck and Griffin, and even Tannehill. He wasn't after the ball as much. He went 26 touchdowns with 4 rushing touchdowns and 10 interceptions for only 3,000 yards last year, compared to Griffin, who went 20 touchdowns against 7 interceptions. Ages for almost 4,000 yards, ran for another 400, 500, 600, something like that, some crazy number. That's rookie of the year. Andrew Luck was asked to throw the ball over 700 times as a rookie. I mean, you compare it. These guys are going to have slumps. But if you look at Russell Wilson, if you want to talk about expectations, this guy is not going to be throwing for 4,000 yards. He's not going to be throwing for more than 25 touchdowns. He's going to be efficient with the ball, but he's not going to be leading his team to an 11-5 record like he did last year.
Okay, I hear you. But is anyone really having those high expectations of Russell Wilson? I'm sorry, I told NFL Network, I don't see much on him. All I see is that he tied Peyton Manning's rookie season record for touchdowns. That's all I see. That's the end of it. Then they go on to Purdy Harden, then they go back to RG3 and Luck and Kaepernick. So that's why I say Kaepernick, because we've built him up as this quarterback that's going to take the 49ers to the Super Bowl again with those kind of numbers. And I'm saying every quarterback, every rookie quarterback, brand new quarterback goes through slumps. And he hasn't hit it yet. Now, Russell Wilson, you got the division, okay? The only way the Cardinals, I believe, got better was with Carson Palmer.
And that's a heck of a pickup. And I'm a Raiders fan saying that he's a heck of a quarterback.
They brought back Dansby, and my opinion, the steal of the draft behind Moneyball was Tyrann Mathieu. Okay?
And they added Stephon Taylor, and they added... alright, never mind.
Oh, keep going.
No, they re-signed Kawhi Campbell on the defensive line. Then you had, like you said, they added Tyrann Mathieu. They added Stephon Taylor and Rashard Mendenhall to their backfield. And when we look at who's their head coach again? I know it was
what?
Who's Arizona's head coach again? I apologize. Who's Arians? We just saw what he did with Andrew Luck, who's a strong arm quarterback. But when we look at Andrew Luck doesn't have a Larry Fitzgerald. I love Reggie Wayne, but he's not Larry Fitzgerald. And again,
I hear you.
Add that with a Michael Floyd. They lost early Doucette, but I'm just saying. You look at this defense. You look at this offense. I think Carson Palmer's gonna have a heck of a year.
You're talking about a defense that let up 51 points last year in one game. Okay. I'm sorry, but they haven't improved enough. They brought in Dansby, who's older and declining. Tyrann Mathieu, who's a rookie. Okay.
Rookie of the year, in my opinion. We'll pen that down. Tyrann Mathieu is the rookie of the year.
Okay. The Seahawks is slower than last year. Right? So let me review the Seahawks schedule. They got the Panthers. That's your name. Okay. Niners. Okay, I can see him struggling there. But at the same time, the Niners lost a lot of secondary that turned them to injuries. So, who knows how he does his head? Jaguars, doing the same thing on that. Texans, okay, struggling. Colts, he will tear up that secondary. Okay, Titans, that's going to be secondary again. Cardinals, okay.
Secondary. Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu.
Okay, Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu. I'm not going to say anything on him personally because he sat out a year. Okay.
Rookie of the year.
In college, he thought he was in the NFL.
Rookie of the year. Charles Woodson 2.0.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Playmaker. That's a playmaker.
I don't understand. Okay. I see where you're coming from, saying that he could hit a slump, but I don't think he will. Okay. I don't think his numbers will be as great as last year. I don't think any of these quarterbacks, to tell you the truth, besides Andrew Luck and RG3, if he becomes more of a conventional pocket passer, I don't think any of these. I think all these guys are going to hit slumps because these defenses are building their defense around the option.
Sure. Very good. But at the same time, I don't think Andrew Luck's going to have a slump. I think he's the only one out of that whole group that's not going to have a slump.
Alright. Wait, I'm sorry, what?
Andrew Luck.
What about him?
I don't believe that he's going to have a slump this year.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think similar numbers to last year, I'll say. Not necessarily a slump, like a bad slump. But
no.
It'll be similar numbers to last year. Anyways, Kevin.
Let's move on to final topic of the NFL. Playoff predictions. No particular order, I'd say. You want to do that? Feel free to do it. Go ahead, Jones. Who you got in the NFC?
The NFC. Number one, I'm going to give you my order. Number one, I got Atlanta. I think they add Steven Jackson. I think Desmond Trufant is proving himself during training camp. He's already number one in the depth chart already. I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to finish this year heck of a good season, especially with the addition of Steven Jackson to their backfield. That's going to be a heck of a pickup. I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to be a team to watch, man. Second, I got San Francisco 49ers. I know you don't think Colin Kaepernick's going to be as good as he was last year, but I think he will, even with the absence of Michael Crabtree. I think Vernon Davis is going to step up. I think he'll have 1,000 yards. Put it on me. I think he has 1,000 yards this season. I think that Anquan Boldin will step up and fill that void. I think that this San Francisco offense is good enough, especially considering that they still have a good running attack. You look at the depth that they have at running back. They have Frank Gore, Marcus Lattimore, who they just drafted, who's coming off injury, Michael James.
All right, Jones, come on.
Kendall Henry. All right. Anyway, third, I got Green Bay. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the man this year. I think he's going to put it on, even with the absence of Greg Jennings. I think he's got a lot to prove, even with the injured offensive line. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be MVP of the season. Fourth, I got the Dallas Cowboys. I believe Tony Romo, I think they can win that division.
Wait, okay, as a division winner, so I got you not for the record.
Oh, yeah. No, this is division winners.
Okay.
All right, and then my first seed, my first wild card, I got Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson. Still think he's going to be successful this year. And six, my favorite pick out of all of them, New Orleans Saints. I think Drew Brees and Sean Payton reunited, and it feels so good. I think they're going to have a good year.
All right. My number one seed was the San Francisco 49ers, but now Patrick Willis has now underwent surgery for a broken wrist. He's going to be back for opener, he says, but the secondary has gone through multiple injuries. Crabtree's injured. This is too many injuries for me. So, number one seed, I've got the Green Bay Packers. And it all revolves around Eddie Lacy. With the running game, now, opens up the field for Aaron Rodgers. Now you got Randall Cobb, James Jones, and Jordy Nelson as your main guys. You know, Greg Jennings is out of the picture. I think he'll do better with them. And, I got them at number one. Number two, got the 49ers still. Okay. Look, I'm not saying Kaepernick is going to have a horrible season. All I'm saying is with our expectations, he's not going to live up to them.
Right.
He's going to have a good season. Okay.
Right.
And I'm ashamed to actually about Vernon Davis. There's actually been discussions with him moving into the wide receiver spot. So that can definitely help them out a lot. Number three, okay, I've got the Atlanta Falcons. Okay. And then this is record-wise for me, because I don't know the NFC division that well.
Right.
Alright, so, is Atlanta the same division as the top three that I said?
No, you're good.
Okay, so then Atlanta wins their division at number three. Number four, I can't believe you picked them out. Washington Redskins. Even without RG3, Kirk Cousins, I think, could do good enough to take me to the playoffs. He did great last year when RG3 went down. And let's not forget, rookie running back Alfred Morris.
That's the guy.
Okay. Look, everyone's forgot about him, and I think he'll be carrying them to that division win. Alright? Then we got number 5, the Seahawks, and number 6, the Saints.
Alright, so ours is similar. It's exactly the same. Except for Dallas and Washington, that's the only teams that you left out.
Alright, okay. Alright, let's do this. AFC. I've got this in particular order. I'm ready to go. Number 1, my team, Denver Broncos. Okay? That's fine, I'm saying. I'm not saying anything about playoffs. Because the past 2 years, ladies and gentlemen, I've been a victim of jinx. Well, that's a different story for another day. Number 2, I've got Houston. With Brian Cushing back, J.J. Watt, now with Ed Reed. And then we got, who's the new rookie wide receiver that they have?
DeAndre Hopkins.
That is going to be a lethal team, I'm telling you. Alright, and then with Aaron Foster in the backfield, oh god, don't even, Denver and Houston are the new Colton-type Patriots of the
Wow.
last decade. That's what I'm saying. Number 3, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh. Wow.
Giovanni Bernard, high Monty Ball is my favorite. I think he's going to blow up for them. And I see them doing good things. Andy Dalton and A.J. Green, they're the new Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison.
Wow.
Now, not as good as Peyton Manning. As good as Peyton Manning.
You're making bold statements here, man.
Number 4, I've got the Patriots. And it saddens me, the situation that they've gone through. You know, no team should ever go through that, but it's going to affect them. And they're going to have the 4th best record. They're going to get the number 4 seed. Now, hopefully Gronk recovers, comes back, but Stephon Ridley is injury prone. Amendola's injury prone. You know, I just don't see them being able to capitalize, or being able to have that same season as we're used to. And number 5, first wild card, I've got the Miami Dolphins.
Wow. Wow.
Leon Jordan.
Wow.
And Mike Wallace. End of story. 6 seed. Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh.
Now, they can easily take the number 5 seed. Okay, that the Dolphins. Okay, no. Chiefs at number 5, Dolphins at number 6. I just wanted to hurry up and say the Dolphins so you could see your reaction. But the Chiefs, Alex Smith, Andy Reid is going to be reborn with this team. Alex Smith is going to finally show that he can take a team to the playoffs. Jamal Charles is back. Dwayne Bowe, everyone's just forgetting about him. Okay, he's back. Eric Berry, Brandon Flowers with the Cowboys now. Tom Bahali, that whole defense is loaded. And, yeah, I can't wait to see them make that with Alex Smith.
Alright.
So there's mine.
Well, I don't like your Denver and I don't like your Kansas City Chiefs pick, but that's just me being a Raiders fan. But, first of all, number 1, I got the Houston Texans. I think that with, like you said, the addition of DeAndre Hopkins coming out the slot is going to take a lot of pressure off Andre Johnson, along with Owen Daniels, to make plays consistently for Matt Schaub. And if Aaron Fox can stay healthy, this team has, in my opinion, with the addition of Ed Reed, this team
and not only that, my former Broncos, Joe Manziel, took the year off of Matt Schwab was just signed.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be a huge help as well. I forgot about that.
That's a phenomenal linebacking core. It's like they don't miss Mario Williams at all, almost. Secondly, I got the Denver Broncos. But Peyton Manning, I feel like he's destined to get back to the Super Bowl. Hopefully, hopefully I'm not playing another jinx on your Broncos. But I do believe Peyton Manning could have a phenomenal year this year, especially if Monty Ball and Ronnie Hillman can prove that they're a dynamic duo in a young backfield. Then this is going to be a great year for Peyton Manning, especially with the fact that reports are that Manning is running this offense the way that he wants to, which is up-tempo and quickly, and to the point where he can manage it and manipulate defenses from the line of scrimmage. If Peyton Manning can show off that skill, then they're definitely going to be running the West. Third, and surprising to myself, actually, I have the Baltimore Ravens. I don't believe Joe Flacco deserved that contract, and we can talk about that whenever you want to, but I don't believe that he deserves that contract. But even with the loss of Dennis Pitta, I think Visanthe Pacheco and Ed Dixon, I think both of them can cover up for what Flacco needs in the red zone necessarily. I do feel that the absence of Anquan Bolden is the reason why they don't get the number 1 seed here, but I think that defense has replenished itself enough to at least win its division out. I think that they're better than the Bengals from there, a little bit better than the Steelers.
Okay.
Fourth, I got the New England Patriots, another team that I don't like. I think that Tom Brady, even without Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski, and the absence of Wes Welker, he could still prove that he's one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. I'm not going to bet against him here. I think that their running game, which has always been a staple of New England's success, along with that defense, addition of Adrian Wilson is going to be key. I think that New England can win that division still. In my first wild card, I have the Colts. I think Andrew Luck again can lead this team. I think that he's primed for another phenomenal year. I don't feel that he'll have the sophomore slump. And with the addition, if Ahmad Bradshaw can stay healthy, I think that's a good little addition in the backfield to manage the clock. And they have Darius Hayward-Bay, if he can stay healthy as well. I think he could stretch the field. And alongside him, with T.Y. Hilton and Reggie Wayne, that's going to be a good for Andrew Luck, adding more weapons to his arsenal. Number 6, I got Cincinnati Bengals. Andy Dalton, along with A.J. Green, with the addition of Tyler Eifert and Giovanni Bernard. I think this offense improved significantly due to draft. And if this defense can stay healthy, since they added James Harrison, I think that this team can definitely contend in this division, which in my opinion has gotten stronger, but I think that they can steal that last wildcard spot this year.
Before we move on to the NBA, please tell me why you have the Kansas City Chiefs out of the playoffs.
Oh, I don't believe in Alex Smith. I never will. I don't think that he could have led that team to the Super Bowl the way that Colin Kaepernick did, and history proves that we will never know.
You know what? We'll get on about this next week in our debate show. Move on to the NBA before it is. NBA, alright. What we're talking about now, we got free agency signing, we got Lakers. Retired here. You live in LA. We got players most approved, and then we got playoff predictions. First off, most significant free agent signing. Yo.
Ooh. Wow. Most significant free agent signing. Even for me, that I still find that hard. But wow. I'd probably say, Kevin. I think the most significant signing in the offseason was probably the Heat getting Greg Oden, and here's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know, it's a long shot. But think about it. The way that the Pacers upgraded themselves, I think that other teams, including the Pistons of all teams, I think everyone's taking a shot at the Heat. I think they're exploiting their weaknesses, getting big men. The fact that the Heat struggle on the inside, especially what we saw with Roy Hibbert in the semifinals last year, and what Joakim Noah and Carlos Boozer have been able to do to us in the past. If the team has a good point guard and solid post game, then they can beat the Heat. With Greg Oden, the Heat now have an ability to at least have a defensive presence for at least 10 to 15-minute stretches of the game. They're not going to get overloaded on the inside the way that they were against the Pacers last season. And that definitely will be important coming down the stretch, especially during their playoff run this year.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Oden bringing his crutches to South Beach. Alright. Okay. I understand what you're saying there, but most significant, Johnny, the most significant. Okay, Greg Oden, yes, was a great signing on here. Okay, but he hasn't played since, 2009? And he's played 82 games. Okay. I'm pulling for him. I want him to do great, but significantly, he takes the championship team to potential three-peat or not, depending on how his needs are. Okay. Most significant. I couldn't pick one. Okay. Dwight Howard, obviously at the top of the list. Okay, he takes that Houston Rockets team and he makes them into almost championship contenders. Okay, they're not championship contenders yet. Okay, I'll stand by that. They're not. After they get a better bench.
Is that it? Yeah, okay. Right now is definitely okay. If we're going to talk about most significant, like you're saying, just monster changing, like franchise changing like that, then I still won't be saying about this for a different reason. I think that he's bringing different kind of energy to the franchise. I don't think that he's going to necessarily be Like, in spite of that, I find that the way that it was last year, playing on like Kobe Bryant, it just didn't work. I think that's the fact that he's injured, the fact that he's happy. I think that changes everything. I think that he'll be back to his dominant form. The fact that he won't be injured, hopefully he's fully healthy. I mean, everything has a phenomenal year this year. Okay. Well, folks, that's the end of our first half of our off-season debate. Hopefully you keep checking in. This is the Jones and Avery Show, and so long.